is, for example, corrupting, and after that you cannot use that device. The next things that we should know about the PoE is that the PoE has different versions. First, let me to give you a little history about the PoE. You know that first the Cisco was created the concept of creating or applying the power over the Ethernet cables, and the name of the technology around 2000, okay, the year 2000, was Cisco Inline Power, or the ILP, okay. After some years, okay, the IEEE introduced the standard I802.3AF, okay, and after that the name of this standard and is the PoE, okay. You can say the power over Ethernet or IEEE 802.3AF, okay. In the Cisco ILP version, we are using the standard of Cisco. This is the Cisco proprietary, and maximum 7 watts can be given to one device, okay. And we are applying this power, providing this power over 2 wire pairs, okay. In most cases, you know that, for example, in Ethernet cable, we are using the pin 1, 2, 3, and 6 for in the old days, and with the port pin 4, 5, 7, and 8, we can apply the power to the devices. And because of that, here you can see with 2 pair means 4 wire, okay. We can apply the power. This is the old standards, and only old devices now are using this, for example, a standard, because you know that the 7 watt is not so much for newer capabilities, for newer devices, okay. You know that when we are negotiating about the capability of the power with the other side, one of the things that we should negotiate is the class of the power that that device needs. For example, one IP phone needs some amount of power, and maybe one IP access points needs more power, okay. Because of that, we have some classes of the power. For example, one of them is PoE. PoE or IEEE 802.3AF support up to 15 or 15.4 watts, okay. Again, it uses the 2 wire pairs or 4, for example, wire. Look at here, 15 watt means we can connect the devices with maximum 15 watt requirement to the for example, device support PoE. Look at here we have one switch. In this switch, you can see this switch support PoE, power over Ethernet, 48 in 48 ports, in all of its ports. But PoE means that this switch can supply only the 15 watt in each port, not more. If you connect a device with the need more than 15 watt to this port, the device cannot, for example, enable, and you cannot use it. This is the PoE, okay. But if your device support the next standard, IEEE 802.3AT, okay, PoE plus, we call it PoE plus. Some of the switches now are supporting the PoE plus. Your device support a standard 802.3AT and can supply the 30 watt at each interface. Again, we are using two powered wire pairs. Also, if your device supporting UPoE, means universal PoE, your device supported the IEEE 802.3BT. This is the universal PoE. Okay, universal PoE can supply up to 60 watts on each port. And finally, for example, newest technology is UPoE plus or universal PoE plus 802.3BT, again can supply up to 100 watt at each interface, and both of them, UPoE and UPoE plus, are working with, for example, supplying in all of the 4 pairs. It is not have any we don't have any problem for supplying the power and data simultaneously in one link, okay. Because of it, don't worry about the 4 powered wire pairs. This is related to your device that support which of them, PoE, PoE plus, UPoE, UPoE plus. Actually, if your device support PoE, for example, cost of this device is lower than the PoE plus, than the UPoE, and then UPoE plus. For some reasons, for example, connecting some video conferences systems or some other, maybe you need to use devices that support UPoE or UPoE plus. For some, for example, lower needs such as the IP phone, such as the IP camera, maybe we can use PoE plus or PoE. Because of that, when you are designing your LAN, you need to consider which devices will connect to this switch. According to this requirement, you can select your switch. You know that maybe you are buying 12960. This 2960 doesn't support PoE, for example. The cost is, for example, assume that is $100. It is not real, only for one example. But if you want to buy 2960 with the capability of the PoE, maybe it costs $200, okay? But if this switch support PoE plus, maybe the price is the $300. Because of that, this is so important, selecting the, for example, correct and suitable model of one switch according to your need. If your device is working in one area that you need more power, maybe you need to buy a UPoE or UPoE plus switch, supported switch. This means that you need to, for example, invest more than other rooms about the switch that you are using this room, okay? Because of that, when you are designing this the LAN, one of the considerations are this PoE and capability of PoE. You know that this is a hardware capability, not a software capability. When you are choosing your device according to your need and your, for example, required for cost and required investment, you can choose your switch, and after that you can use it in your area. Don't forget that the impact of the PoE on the cost is not so small. It may be the impact of the PoE and the model of PoE is so high in your cost in buying the switches. You know that by using PoE or Power over Ethernet, companies can gain several advantages, including reduced cost by requiring fewer cable runs and better power management capabilities as compared with using a traditional electrical power cable run and power outlet. Okay, let me now in the last section of the PoE in this video give you some recommendation about the PoE and also the LAN design. First, how we can choose the switch model and also for example use this switch model in our networks. About the PoE, you can consider these factors. The first is power device. You need to determine the type of devices that you are using in your network and also the models of that devices that you are using in your network, and also the requirement related to the power of that devices in your network. This is so important for choosing the for example switch model. After that, you need to think about the power requirement. You know that, for example, we have one PD device and also maybe we have 10 PD device. You need to sum and also for example add the total PoE requirement of that device together, and with this for example sum, you can find the power budget that you need in one device. Let me to talk about that. You know that in one switch, okay, maybe we can provide 15 watt of power in each port, but this switch has a specific capability. For example, it can for example supply up to 100 watt of the power. This means that only 6 port or maybe 7 port of this switch can supply the power. Maybe you have the devices with 15 watt of the requirement, it's okay. But because you have, for example, 10 devices with 15 watt requirement, you need 150 watts of power. Because of that, you should consider the total PoE or power over Ethernet requirement, and after that you should choose the device, the switch for example, with the compatibility of the total PoE requirement that you have. Because of that, you need to first identify the devices or the PD devices that you have in your network, the number of that devices, okay, and finally you can choose a switch that can provide the power of that devices in each port, and after that the total power of